In a roster update. And of course, when you get a roster update, that means y'all's favorite thing. Yes, weights, heights, not really heights, but weights definitely change. We're going to dive into some of the key parts that you all really care about. First, the trenches. And there's some new players on the roster that might get y'all's attention. Let's dive into that. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. All right. I had a couple people hit me up on this. Me and John talked about it over on Locked On Sooners for a bit, and they're like, hey, can you go a little bit deeper on the heights and weights of some of these players, especially as we're seeing the fall roster show up on the Sooners website? Well, here we go. We'll pop up the graphic. We'll look at first the offensive line. We'll go D-line. And then we'll wrap things up, so stick around on the linebacker room because there's some additions that should get you all excited. And we'll do the other positions on another video later this week. As you see, I'm at still the SEC Media Days, so we'll wrap things up later this week with that info. So let's jump into the offensive line first, and let's talk about it. First off, when I looked at the offensive line, I had my questions, of course. How many dudes do we have over 300 pounds? Do we have any bigger ones, especially at the guard spot? All those questions are always going to populate because if there's one thing you need to make sure you have when it comes to the SEC, you got to have big trench players. And shout out to the Sooners because they got it. We have, four players under 310 pounds on the offensive line. And we got way more than three. We probably got about 20, roughly, offensive linemen, and vast majority are over 310 pounds, which is the thing that got you all excited. When you look at the starting lineup, Troy Everett, he's moved up from 308 to 315. Big boy in the middle. He'll be battling out with Jake Michael, the new guy, who comes in at about 299. So he's just under 300 pounds, which means he's going to have to get his weight up if he really wants to take that spot or really compete with Troy Everett, who is the incumbent leader of the offensive line. So we expect him to be the one that actually does the playing. Next up on the line of scrimmage that really got your boy going, we look at the freshmen, Michael Fasusi and Ryan Fogier. Fogier's down about 2 pounds. He's at 322 now, but he's still a nice size. And Fasusi moves up to 309 from 302. So he's getting built up bigger, and he's going to be ready to play on those in one of those tackle spots, probably left tackle. And Fogier, as Gabe Eichert mentioned on the Oklahoma Breakdown, he's already built to be an SEC guard. Like, he can play right now, and there's a good chance he'll fight for that. He'll be fighting with Fabechi Wewu, the incumbent there, who's sitting here at 326 pounds, adding 3 more pounds of good weight, it looks like, because he dropped. I think it's like 330 when he first came in last year. He's dropped into he was 323 in the spring, and now he's at 326. So he's giving you some good weight or whatnot there. But when you go through some of the other linemen, Heath Ozaida, who's back healthy, 311 pounds. Like, that is a good amount of weight for a guy that's going to be playing guard. If we can get him up to about 320, I think he'll be even better. Luke Buklinko moves up from 307 to 313. And Jake Taylor moves from 300 pounds, and that's where a lot of y'all were concerned at tackle, only at 300 pounds, and it was a struggle last season. He's up to 313. Good size. Jake Sexton drops to about 330, so he's got a comfortable weight. Eddie Pierre-Louis goes from 309 to 314, which we expected because we all know that he ran track. So coming in, he was a little bit lighter, getting back up into those 300 ranges, and now 314. He may be fighting for a starting spot at the left guard position. And then Logan Howland moving from 310 to 322 to me is big. That's a big jump for him. He was a little light last year at tackle when he was coming in as a young player. He looked so much better at that weight. But that's some of the offensive line to start. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Give me your thoughts. Who on this list really jumped out to you as somebody that you feel like made the leap that's definitely needed here on this squad? All right, let's look at the defensive line real quick, because I think the defensive line has got some interesting numbers as well, especially when you talk about the positions like edge. We got a new edge player that's here. They just enrolled, and size-wise, oh boy, he may be actually fighting for a spot in play right now. So let's take a look at this real quick. Next up, you're looking at, so edge room-wise, Marvin Jones putting on an additional 7 pounds, going to 262 from 255. I think that's a pretty big pickup from the spring. And, of course, if he's kept his speed as a senior, He's going to see a lot of reps, and good chance he's going to play most of the time. Daniel Collier, one player that we're high on, stayed around 250, which is good. Our Mason Thomas is staying maintaining his size. But this is the biggest one. PJ Adebaware. Now, Brent Venables mentioned he wanted to get him over the 260 range. And, yeah, he's now over 260 at 261 pounds. And that's a big jump for him because that, to me, was probably the most important move for Oklahoma, was getting him some weight. He's one of those players that all of you Sooner fans are waiting to have his breakout, and we know it's coming. We know that he has the capabilities. He's dealing with injuries, but he did show us that, okay, I'm going to put on some pounds and I'm going to make something happen. So for Oklahoma and for you all as fans, I know that that's probably one player you're like, oh, he's got that weight that we've been looking for. He's given us what we needed, and truth be told, he has. At spring, he was in that range, and you were wondering if he was going to stay that way. Well, he did. And hearing he's healthy, I think at that 261 is going to be massive for everybody. Taylor Wine going up to 276, almost 280 at edge, as well as when you get down to the trenches, though, when you get into the middle guys. Well, again, let me mention this. C.J. Nixon is here. He's the former basketball player, Weatherford, as well as edge. He comes in at 6'3", 254 pounds. So you've already got some big edges. And it's funny because R. Mason Thomas is your smallest at 249. Everybody else is over 250 Bergen Kaiser, which I don't think he's 245. He's got to be bigger than that. I've seen the pictures. The dude looks like a mountain. But we'll trust the numbers here this time. But once we get the actual official depth chart, we'll be able to see what it looks like after fall camp. But your middle guys are big. David Stone, 310. He's maintaining his 310-pound pace and going up. Nigel Smith moving up from 279 to 290 pounds. 3 technique is coming for him very soon. Trent Wilson gives you 307. Like, he said that he was over 300 pounds when he first came in, but they had him at 294 at the spring roster. Well, as you can see, 307 pounds is probably a big deal right there. But when you look at that, you've got what's this? 4 guys that are under 300 pounds. Marcus Strong is just under 300 pounds. Looks like he lost a little bit of weight, but I bet you he gets that back here in the fall. Summertime is kind of hard to put on, but Jaden Jackson, 322 pounds. You're a big middle guy, him. Dominic Williams, 232. You got a couple of guys that's got some weight that you're excited about. And Ricky Lolohea coming in at 330. He's dropped that weight to 300 pounds. So he's probably putting on more good weight. He may not have came in at 330 in the spring. I mean, the spring rosters had him at 330. I don't know if he was that big. He was probably closer to 315. But at 300 pounds is good. That's good for him, and all you got to do is add more meat to him, more muscle. You get yourself a good spot. So that's what you're looking like in trenches. And Jacob Henry, which me and John did an interview with his dad, Mark Henry, the legend, the strongest man alive. Him going up to 295 pounds, so he's right there at the cusp of 300 pounds. Man, he's going to be doing some stuff. Let me know what y'all think on that trench number. Hop in the comments. Want to hear y'all's thoughts. All right, let's wrap it up with some of the newcomers. Like, you saw C.J. Nixon there on the edge. He's one of the new guys. He's going to compete with that size that he has. But true freshman, you don't expect him to play, but he should get some good special teams time. So that's a plus, and you'll be able to preserve his red shirt. But this is one, though. Linebacker room saw some additions that you guys are going to be excited about. Marcus James has pulled up. Linebacker, 6'4", 235 pounds as a true freshman. Like, he's bigger than Kip. He's right there, not too far from Kobe in size as a true freshman. And I told y'all, I watched him at Midwest City Carl Albert. He was one player I was very high on that I felt like was going to be able to be very, very competitive going forward. And so he's one to keep your eyes open for going forward because I think that he has the talent to be able to play. So, yeah, Marcus James was a pretty nice pickup. James Nesta moving up to 230. The baseball player looks good. Nice size, nice strong. Kobe McKenzie actually dropped a little weight. He went from 240 to 236. So he's going to probably increase his mobility, but Samuel Masigo staying in the 235 range, man. Those two are going to be so much fun to watch this year. So, yeah. we've got a good situation here at the linebacker room. The question's going to be who is the one that's going to step up and be that guy. I'll make sure to ask Brent Venables who in his linebacker room does he feel like is going to be that one. And to be like that, not the next Danny Stutzman, but be the vocal leader there. My vote is on Kobe McKenzie, but we shall see. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. All right. We'll be wrapping things up here at SEC Media Days. I got more content to put on here at this channel as well. We'll talk through some of the comments that were made later this week. But if you want to see all of our coverage immediately, check me out over on Locked On Sooners with my guy John. And then me and Coop, of course, so we'll be going live on Sunday, and we'll really dive into what we've seen and heard and make the magic happen. All right. Thanks for pulling up. We'll talk soon. Peace.